As always, this is Double Take Debate. Today I wanted to just discuss the difference in quality between the La Liga and the English Premier League. Something that always seems to come up in football arguments and is held as an asterisk over Spanish players when considered putting them in World 11s or the best player in the world. People generally seem to say, well, could they cut it in the English Premier League, so on and so forth, and hold it against them. Let's start with some facts. The La Liga, the third place team finished with 61 points and the bottom team finished with 27. In total, a point spread of 34 points between 3rd and 20th. In the English Premier League, the third place team had 70 points, which was Arsenal, and the bottom team had 25, a 45 point spread. So automatically you can see, in La Liga, it was a more competitive league. The point spread between 3rd and relegation was closer, teams were battling, the quality was tighter, and even if you go into the middle of the table, at 10th place Atletico Bilbao sat on 49 points, West Bromwich Albion sat on 10th in the English Premier League on 47 points. Again, splitting hairs, but you needed 2 more points in the Liga to finish 10th than you did in the English Premier League. So I don't think you can say it's an uncompetitive league. I don't think you can refer to the others either as teams that wouldn't cut it. You know, some people say anyone outside of the top 2 in Spain would get relegated in the English Premier League. It's just rubbish. You know, the 10th place team, Atletico Bilbao, one, have a striker in Llorente up front who could walk into most teams in Europe, and 2, who knocked Manchester United out over 2 legs in the Europa League comfortably against pretty much their first team. I'm not going to look too much into that game, but it's worth noting. You know, you can't compare La Liga to the Scottish League. You can't. The reason that there are big victories for the top 2 is because of the style of play. It's an open-ended, attack-minded league that is based on technique and not physicality. There is a chance that players like Iniesta, Messi, had they played in England, had they plied their trade in England when they were young, they would have got cut at youth level for being too small and not physical enough. And that is the harsh reality of it, which is why we lack so many creative sparks, because at a youth level, if you speak to anyone in youth football, they will tell you this is the case. It is improving, but it has been the case for a long time that we hold it as a disadvantage, height and physical attributes compared to technique and footballing brain. So in England we have a faster paced end-to-end league that also has a physical side to it, which I think is overblown now with all the diving that goes on, but that's another issue. Whereas in Spain, as I said, they play technique, patience and methodical football that is focused on attacking flair. It's just 2 different styles. They're different. Not one is better than the other. They're just different and both effective in their own right. I think, you know, Real Madrid and Barcelona have such good teams that they would dominate a lot of leagues. If they came to the English Premier League, I think they would both be in the top 3 and one of them would probably win the league. I think they're that good. You know, they've got players on their bench that are so talented in Higuain, Alexis Sanchez, you know, the list go on. We all know their squads well enough by now. But I think the other teams don't get enough shine. The Valencias, the Sevillas, the Atletico Bilbaos. You know, you've got a team that got relegated this year in Villarreal that have Giuseppe Rossi, that have Nilmar up front. You know, these are quality strikers that a lot of teams in Europe would die to have, and they weren't good enough to keep them in the La Liga. So there's obviously competition there, and I think people need to start watching the league for themselves and not believing everything they're force-fed through English media that the English Premier League is the best in the world and it's not even close. I don't think this is the case. I think watch the game for yourself, check out the teams, look at the players that are playing there, and don't quote facts that you can't back up. Put it this way, I think if you merge the 2 leagues and you've got a 40-team league, the top 10, 5 of them will be Spanish teams. 5 will be English, 5 will be Spanish. That's my opinion. I think they play good enough football to give a lot of teams trouble, just as Swansea and Norwich did this year in the Premier League. 2 teams came up, no star players, but they played football what some call the right way, the Barcelona way. They passed, they moved, and they got at teams. They didn't care about reputation. You know, Swansea went to Anfield, they went to Old Trafford, they gave them games, they won matches against big teams, and they done it playing a more Spanish style of football, and it worked. So there's absolutely no reason that the actual Spanish teams that play Spanish football couldn't be successful in England either. I'm sure there's a lot of English fans sitting there thinking this is rubbish. The English Premier League is hands down the best. I'd love to hear your opinions on it, but I think the La Liga isn't getting the credit it deserves. It gets downplayed too often in the English media, who give a lot of credit to the English Premier League, some of which I think is unjust. And I think the leagues are on par with each other. That's the honest truth. And I think the major change happened when Ronaldo and Fabregas up and left the Premier League, the two best players at the time, and went to the La Liga. And I think that started the shift, the balance shift. Because up until that point, I think, yes, the Premier League probably was the better league. And I think when that happened, that kind of cemented the change and the swing into a more even playing field between the two leagues. But that's my opinion. That's Double Take Debate. Let us know, let me or Micah know what you think, and we hope to hear from you soon. Good luck to England later. Enjoy the rest of your Monday.